Hello, howdy, how are you? Today it is, I think, June 6th, beginning of June. Oh, I am currently on Koh Phi Phi Island in Thailand. It's just southeast of Phuket at the southern area of Thailand. Just arrived here maybe like 2 hours ago, and it's absolutely beautiful. Having a good time so far. I think I'm starting to get a hang of this solo backpacking travel thing. It's weird. I was sitting out here before, and I was thinking to myself about how usually when people, they go travel, they go get lost and stuff like that. But honestly, I don't really have any feelings of lost inside of me. Like, I don't feel like I'm out of place. I kind of feel like I'm exactly where I should be and need to be, which is great and fantastic. And that's kind of crazy to say, especially the fact that I'm currently on an island in the middle of the ocean, way off the coast of Thailand. Like, it's a 2-hour ferry ride from Thailand mainland, at least Phuket, where I came from. I literally couldn't be further from Canada. Like, if I had to get back to Canada right now, it would be a 2-day journey, because I would have to get, like, there's no ferries left for the day, right? So I'd have to ferry all the way back to the island, and then I'd have to book a plane, and then, like, just like I literally, very literally am on the opposite side of the world from my home, which is incredible to me. And I'm very proud of myself for it too. I had a lot of worries coming out here, but they're really starting to dissipate. I'm starting to find myself for sure. It feels great. I've been doing these travel talk videos where basically I literally just sit down with the camera. The first one I was in a hawker market in Singapore. Now I'm sitting on this little, it's like a sand bank in the water. Like, the water goes goes down and then comes back up again. So I'm sitting like on my butt. So I'm only like halfway out the body. So it's a nice little spot. Perfect. Probably gonna sit here and watch the sunset for a bit. In my first video I was talking about how traveling as a solo backpacker is kind of lonely, and it definitely did feel like that from the beginning. But it's weird because it's like you meet people every single day, but then you also say goodbye to people every single day, which is kind of both the pains but also the beauty of traveling. You meet people quick, and you also say goodbye just as fast. But what has been definitely interesting to me is I've been figuring out how to be just okay on my own, which I think is something that everybody probably needs to learn at one point or another in their life. Very healthy thing to learn for sure. And it's something that's been a struggle for me to learn. For the first month I was out here, I was always like, some of these waves are a little bigger than the other ones. The first month I was out here, I was trying so hard to be like, oh, do this today, do that tomorrow, and I was planning too much. And even to this day, like, I'm still planning too much. I feel like I showed up the island today already having a hostel booked, and I was just sitting beside this random woman next to me on the ferry ride over, and then while I'm checking in for my hostel, she came to the hostel I was checking in at, and she was asking about prices, and then they told her a price, and she moved on to the next hostel. I'm like, it's just a smart woman, because she's probably gonna get a better deal than whatever I did. Like, the price that they probably offered her for the same hostel was probably cheaper because she was a walk-up customer, right? I mean, you take the risk of not having a place booked where you want to stay, which sometimes I don't want to take that risk, but I think I'm gonna start taking a few more of them on as I go here. When it comes back to that feeling of loneliness too, it's or just being on your own, especially. Obviously, there's tons of, like, obviously I miss my friends and family more than anything, and it is definitely tough sometimes because I want to be able to talk to them, speak with them, hang out with them. I'm sitting here on this beautiful beach, and I would wish they could sit here and join me for it. I really wish I could share this with them. But thankfully, I have a GoPro, so I try my best. But at the same time too, it's like I know everyone, a lot of people I know are working full time. They're in school right now. They're fast asleep back home. Right now, it's getting close to probably, I don't know what time it is. Probably like 6 maybe. I don't know. It's getting close. It's getting close to sunset. That's really all that matters. So that means it's probably getting close to sunrise for them. So here I am, being worried about, oh, I miss my friends. But at the same time, it's like, I really couldn't be in a better spot, Like, I'm on a flipping beach in Thailand, man. Like, this is sick. I'm staring at cliffs and rock faces that are literal mountains. Not mountains, but like, this island's here because of probably a volcano eruption in the water, or geothermal plates smashing into each other. Like, this place is insane. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I've started to learn a lot too about the phrase best plan is no plan, because I would be like, oh, there's no plan, but like, I still kind of have a plan. Like, I'm like, I'll do this, probably do that, and I do that. I don't know where I'm gonna get food, but I'm gonna, get shower, eat food, whatever. But it's like, now it's like, Like, I'm starting to understand that I literally have no idea what I'm gonna do after this. I'll leave the beach when I'm ready, you know? I have been trying to work on my tan. I've always used to say that I hated beaches, or I just disliked them. Which I did feel that way for a while, especially when in Canada, like, Canadian beach isn't that all that special. After you come out here, like, it's really nothing to compare. But I was always kind of afraid of the sun, and I didn't really like the sand. But I would always be like, oh, I hate the beach, and I'd go, and I wouldn't enjoy myself the entire time, you know? But now I'm kind of understand, like, now that I've been on, I won't say better beaches, but also just going into it with a better mindset. Like, I was like, I arrived here today at like 4 p.m.-ish, maybe a little early, maybe around 3. You know, I'm walking to my hostel. I literally have to walk down this beach to get to my hostel. So I had my big backpack on, took my, I had like my running shoes on, so I took those off, took my shirt off, so I'm walking down the beach with holding half my clothing, and I have my massive bag on, my fanny pack. You know, shirts off, walking down literally right on the coast. And I'm like, man, like I want to work on my tan, which is something I'm trying to start working on more. I was very careful with the sun for the first month or so, mainly because I burned pretty bad, so the last thing I need to do is come out here and get some awful second, third degree burn like immediately. But now I'm starting to get a little more comfortable with it. I have a bit of a base tan down now. But I was like, screw it, I want to go tan. So I got to my hostel, dropped my shit off, and then I came straight to the beach, you know, and I didn't even really, I just did what I want, and, you know, and now I'm just chilling in the water, and it's great, and life really doesn't get better than this. I'm also working on enjoying the journey as well too. There's so many parts of me that are like, oh, I can't wait to be in this place, I can't wait to be in that place, I can't wait to, you know, go to Vietnam, I can't wait to go to northern Thailand, whatever. But it's like, I'm in South Thailand right now. I don't know when the next time I'm gonna be back here, and like, I gotta sit and enjoy it. I'm kind of proud of myself with Malaysia too. Malaysia was a country where I kind of expected just to kind of literally skip through. I was gonna go to KL for like 3 days. And I had a plan to go up north, but I was like, oh, you know, maybe I might fly. Or I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. Or I was like, oh, I'm just gonna buzz through. But then, you know, actually I went up and I went to every single one of those places, really enjoyed them. Cameron Highlands, Penang, Langkawi, and I spent my time there slowly. And usually for a person like myself, I was always rush through places, be like, okay, I want to get this done, I need to finish this. But it's like, instead, it's like kind of learning to sit there and soak it up while you can, because I don't know the next time I'm ever going to go back to those places. And now I'm kind of trying to carry that mentality with me as I continue my trip. The fact that I'm only a quarter of the way through is honestly absurd to me. Like, absolutely absurd. I feel like I've lived like 3 lifetimes. It's crazy, because I'll call friends back home and family and stuff, and I'm like, oh, like, what's new? And it's just like, there's nothing new, right? Because it's only been a month, and they've been working all month or something like that. And I don't blame them. Like, to be honest, they're making money, so I'm kind of jealous. But just every day out here is I would say such an adventure, but it really is. Both, like, I won't say mentally and physically, but like, you know, it's really kind of hard to put into words, because I'll be like, oh, somebody like, oh, how was Malaysia, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, it was amazing, yada yada yada. And I'm like, I was there like 4 days ago, but that feels like 2 weeks. Like, just because you go through such crazy instances one after another, and everything's so fresh and new, and that you're constantly kind of soaking it all in, that that it just feels like a lifetime. It honestly is. I've heard to definitely a thing with like seniors, that when you get older, days just start to kind of fly by, and that's because when you're older, you've seen so much shit that every single day doesn't feel, there's not very many new occurrences anymore. Ugh. Which it depends on how you live your life and such, of course. But I've heard that before, so now every single day feels so long here. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I am not sure if I'm gonna put this in the video or not, so if you do hear this is a later decision of mine during editing. I think I'm gonna do, not now, obviously while I'm here, but maybe once I get to Europe sometime later this year, beginning of next year, I think I'm gonna sit down and do an IQ test. I was talking to a girl yesterday, she told me about this thing called Mensa, M-E-N-S-A, I believe it is. And it's kind of like a world-renowned IQ test. It's like, I would say society. I really haven't looked into it at all. I just got the name and she kind of told me about it. So basically it's like anybody who's kind of certified as someone with like a high IQ or something, you get certified by this organization, it seems like. And obviously, like, I try my best to be humble in most cases as much as possible. But now that I've been out here kind of learning about other people, cultures, and a lot about myself, I've started to realize that I knew I picked things up quick. I've always been a fast learner. School is always pretty easy for me. And even things in like day-to-day life, like especially when I'm around other travelers, sometimes I'm like, I pick something up quick that some people don't right away. I'm interested to see where I fall onto a scale. I don't think anybody's defined by numbers, and the last thing I want to do is be defined by my IQ number. But I am very curious to see where it is, because I feel like there might be a good chance it might be pretty high. Which feels like, it feels cocky to say that, but like, I mean, I'm 22 now, and like my entire life I always kind of felt a little bit, had a different edge, or I just felt something. And now that I'm a little older, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to see if that's true. I've also thought too that like in Canada, like you're always around, it's a very educated society, right? Everyone's been through elementary, high school, pretty much for the most part. Maybe that's not true, but anybody with some a privilege, like it's very common, at least in Canada, and especially the circles I'm in, right? Like growing up, I grew up in like white suburbia. Everyone goes to elementary and high school, right? Like, and some people take it better than others, and you know, everyone's different streams, like nothing wrong with it, but the general population of Canada is educated. But now when you come out here to other countries and you see, you know, you go to kind of maybe further, more remote places, start to realize, oh, maybe these people, they never went to school. Maybe everything they've learned was through their parents or through their farms, and this is the reason why they cook for a living is because that's what they know and that they're good at. And maybe that's not true. Maybe the guy's also an engineer and he just likes cooking street food. Who knows? But that's kind of the exciting part. But yeah, next year I think I want to take an IQ test at some point, and I think I want to make a YouTube video about the whole thing too, which I think will be fun.